How's it going, guys? My name is System Z, and today I've got a very simple, easy to build starter house that you could build within your first 15 minutes of a Minecraft world, depending on where you spawn and how you play. While this is a block by block tutorial, I highly encourage you not to follow what I build, but follow what I say instead, so that way you leave this video knowing how to build just a little bit better. Anyways, let's go ahead and get straight into it. So we're going to start out by building the framework out of oak logs as you normally would, and my main goal for this particular house while I was building it was to pretty much build it out of only resources that could be obtained pretty early in the game. So most of these blocks are very cheap and just, the kind of thing you could find 10 minutes within, starting a world. So basically just laying out a framework, and then I'm going to use spruce wood to fill in the floor. And then we're going to go ahead and fill that back in and open up a little space for a door. Put some spruce wood there. And then we're going to work on that here in just a moment. So now you can kind of see the main little cage, and it is a very small house, but that's how a starter house should be, honestly. There isn't really much to it. It's just mainly for looks, and it's overall a really nice design. What we're going to do is create an overhang, kind of going and matching the flow of the roof, which we're going to start here in just a moment. But we're going to go around and on every side except for this side, lay out some feet. And what this is going to do is pretty much provide a certain level of support to the entire build. And it's going to look a lot more sturdy and a lot more structurally sound than it would if we didn't have that. It would just look flat. Well, not necessarily now, but once we add the roof on there, you'll see exactly what I mean. Next, I'm going to get a beam and just put it right across there, just of oak wood. Looks a little weird right now, but it'll make a lot more sense here in just a moment. Then I'm going to go ahead with our spruce slabs here and create a very odd shape for the roof. I mean, it's definitely a common shape, but it's still a little weird in terms of placement. So you're going to start with that, followed by one little overhang piece there, one there, bring it out, and then connect it up just like that. And we're going to go ahead and repeat that on the other side. There we go, and you'll notice I did not add the fence yet, and that's because we're going to go around and add in the porch first, because I do want it to be slightly raised up. So I'm just going to go through and kind of create a design for that using our spruce wood, and that is pretty much that there. Then we're going to go ahead and place our fence right there, and that's pretty much going to complete that. And then we're going to bring it along in the middle and connect the edges up just like that to kind of maintain that triangular design that we've got going on. And that same design is going to meet all the way over here and do the same thing. So just right over here. And you notice that we don't have to have that other beam because this side is slightly lower, and that's really helpful for the design. It kind of keeps it all, unique, and it makes the central viewpoint actually here in front or in the back, because the lower sides are kind of more of the side views, whereas the front is mainly, as I said, the main view. And then we're going to kind of go ahead and match what we did on the other side just over on here. So let's bring that all together. And you're not going to be able to walk in right off the bat, but then we can kind of remove those. And it's very limited, but I'm pretty sure you can still get in. Well, I guess for now we'll just do that. That way we can walk in. It is a very tight, space, but it all kind of works out in the end. And then what we're going to do is bring all of these in as we normally would, just a very simple step up pattern. The roofs are always the hardest part of any build, so even if it is starter, it is going to be a little difficult. And then we're going to bring it in and then kind of customize it just a little bit, just to kind of make it a little bit more unique. And what I'm going to do for that is just kind of bring out the center point just a little bit, just like I just did, kind of like that. No real method to it, just kind of randomly place it, make it look like a little slope. Now the back side's a little odd, but in the front it looks really cool, and I really like it. Next, we're going to go ahead and add some windows in here using white stained glass panes, which is a little expensive in terms of starter, but if you can get some bone meal on your hands and some sand, then you could easily make this. Silk touch may be a bit hard, but depending on where you build, you could theoretically terraform and get a dirt block or even a grass block, or just let it grow up. I mean, it kind of works either way. A little bit harder, but it just takes a little time. Then I'm going to put one acacia sapling there. You can really put any foliage, that's the word, not foliage. Anything you really want there, any flower, and it'll work. Just kind of goes off your preference and the colors that you want. Really pay attention to your surroundings too, because that'll really help, in terms of bringing everything together if you have colors that match. And that's pretty much that. And now we're going to go ahead and build kind of the last outside piece, which is going to be a furnace. Now, one of the things that's very particular about this house is that it is obviously very small. And in order to keep the interior, not jam-packed, which it already really will be, we're going to put the furnace on the outside. And that makes it a little bit more dangerous, but overall, it's not that bad. And what we're going to do is just place a cobblestone furnace in a cobblestone. And then in order to maximize furnace space, we're just going to put 4 or 3 other furnaces just like that, followed by 1 stair going inside, and then 2 on top, and then 1 going in this way, 1 going in that way, and that could really be matched on the other side if you wanted, but it's really just for design to kind of make it look a little bit more unique and a little like bigger on one side. And then we're going to break these 2 blocks, and I'm going to make 1 stair going in, 1 going out that way, 1 there, and then do that. Next, we're going to work on the smoke pattern, which if you have my resource pack, it's already dressed up like smoke. Otherwise, you can use cobwebs. So we'll just pretty much do that. And make sure you're paying attention to the wind pattern in your world, because if you build a house and the wind is going a different way, but the smoke is going that way, it's going to look really weird if it's not matching all the other builds. But aside from a few leaves and whatnot, the outside is pretty much done. And I'd say to do the best kind of, leaf design, depending on where you place this, I would use birch leaves and just kind of place them very subtly around the place. Maybe leave them outside of here because they're not really needed. You could bring them up. Man, my mouse is going insane. You could bring them up about here, just on the outside a little bit, and then maybe even bring it up to there. It does not need to be crazy at all. A lot of people make the big mistake of just going absolutely nuts when placing leaves, and this is not, something that just needs to be thrown around. I mean, unless you want it to look like it's abandoned, then be very strategic about where you place leaves. And then another thing you can do, which is something that I believe a lot of builders do now, is kind of break the building up using some stairs. You can kind of give it that, carved out depth and make it look a little bit more weared out, I guess. And I'm just going to bring those in just like that. And pretty much go on each side, or worn out, not weared out. That's definitely not the right word. Worn out. There we go. And I'm going to do one on that side, and then maybe one there. Maybe that'll work. Just to kind of tear it up a little bit. It's not really a requirement, but it kind of looks cool. And I think that's the outside complete, other than just a standard dirt path. Let's go ahead and do the interior. To start off, we're just going to place 1 spruce door there, and then we're going to break this block here, or those blocks. Place our spruce slabs all in each corner and connect them up in the center. And then we're going to get rid of that. We're going to grab a fence and a torch just like that. Go over on one side and place 1 torch, followed by a crafting bench, 1 of those, a chest, and then a bed. And then what you can do to expand it is have a little ladder going down to a basement. And that pretty much opens up interior infinitely. So you can have a storage room down there as big as you want. It's just underground, so it's not really seen. And now, as you can see, since we don't have a furnace in here, there is room for one, but we still have room to walk. And it just kind of looks good overall. And one thing I like to do is get a sign. So 1 sign, and then a stair, just a wooden stair, or as I like to call them, chairs. Come out here, and just to add a little bit of detail to the porch, we're going to add 1 light. We're going to add a stair there to kind of replicate a chair. Go on the other side and add a sign for the arm. And then that's pretty much that. And we cannot get in through there, but we can kind of go in over here. Man, auto jump is on, and that is terrible. But as you can see, we've got a little chair just on the porch, a finished interior, and you could even get a painting if you want. A painting, there we go. Make it a little bit more lovely in the house. Of course, you're gonna have to go through that forever. But yeah, very cozy little house, very cheap and easy to build. Just takes a little bit of patience. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please let me know down below, because I do not know how I feel about doing these, how to build this specific house type thing. But I want you to take this tutorial more as a video about the tips and tricks on building a starter home. So to go over them a little bit, focus on using cheap materials. So that's step number 1. Step 2 is be simple. As you know, the house in this build is very small. It's just a 3x3 interior space, 5x5 if you want to count the outside, plus a little overhang, and then plus a furnace, and it just makes a nice looking house. And as long as you do that and follow those steps, provided you also know how to detail it a little bit, then you're going to have an awesome house on your hands. And whether you chose to build this exact house, or if you chose to use the tips and build your own, which I really encourage, please send me photos of your build on Twitter or Instagram. I'd love to see them, and you can find links to both down below. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. You've been awesome, and let me know what you'd like to see next. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.